tax expectations. As Brenda has broken down, like if you are dealing in business and you are doing vatable business, then we expect you to pay VAT. If you have employees that you have employed, then we expect you to pay payee. If you have suppliers or contractors, we expect you to pay us withholding income withholding tax. If you are dealing with luxury goods like bottled water, wines and spirits, chocolate, then we expect you to pay excise. Like what you pay, our expectation depends on the nature of the activities or what exactly you are doing. If your company was just to apply for money from the woman rep, then we expect you, we don't, and you are given some donation from your women representative, and that amount was maybe just 10,000, then you can be sure at the end of the day when you prepare your returns, we may not expect you to pay anything at the end of the day, depending on what you use that money for and depending on how you make your tax returns and your books of accounts. So the taxes you pay depends on the nature of business you are engaging in.
Thank you very much, Fanta. That was very, very clear, not unless Onyango can confirm that, or any other person, that there is still a concern on that. Fanta, are there any exemptions, and also who qualifies for this exemption? Probably I can give you two questions because there's the question on exemption, and then the other question is if they registered in April, when is the return due?
Mm-hmm. If it is registered in April, when it is returned due? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I may answer that directly. Sorry, I don't know whether you can hear me still.
Yes, you're clear, Fanta.
Yeah, because there's some calls that are coming through that keep making my network go, but I'm sorry for that. So exempt.
We lost you, Fanta. Okay, let's give him a minute. Okay, Brenda, probably you can step in. The other question was who qualifies for exemption?
I'm back. Dolly, I'm back.
Thank you, Fanta. Please proceed.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I was saying that exemption again depends on the nature. What are you doing? You get an exemption, especially if you are self-help group, if what you are doing is purely non-profit making. And when we talk about non-profit making, it is not all the activities in general. It is the non-profit making and focused on charity, on welfare or social development. Social development here includes things like education, and things like that. So if you are a non-profit organization and focused on charity, welfare, and social development, and do not engage in any commercial activity, then you may be exempt from income tax. However, remember, for you to be exempted, you must apply to Kenya Revenue Authority. You must apply to us or to get an exemption, so that when you are filing your returns, at least we know you are exempted. So please note, depends on the nature of what you're doing. It must be purely non-profit making and focused on charity, welfare, and social development. If a PIN is registered in April, when is the return due? Please note, when you are applying for a PIN certificate, for limited companies, you can choose your accounting year end. But for self-help groups or groups and societies, you don't choose your accounting year end. All accounting year ends for groups and societies is December. So if you apply for a PIN in April 2025, then your first return will read the period beginning maybe 1st of April 2025 to 31st December 2025. For all groups and societies, the accounting year end is December. So you will file the first year from the effective date to December 31st, and then other subsequent years, then you'll be filing from January to December of that year. Only for limited companies that you have a choice to change your accounting year end. That's the default accounting year end for groups and societies is December. But for limited companies, you can always change your accounting year end to January, February, March. But the default one for groups and societies will be December, unless you want to change your accounting year end yourself. If you change your accounting year end to January or to December, then your accounting year end will begin from that date to 12 months after that. That is if you decide to change your accounting year end, but the default accounting year end shall be December. But like for partnership, you have no chance to change. For example, if I may mention this by the way, for partnerships, the accounting year end will always be December, because remember, partnership pins are joined at the hip with the owners, with the partners, the individual pins of the partners. But where for groups and society, you have an option of changing. The default one will be December. So if, for example, you have chosen your accounting year end, if you have chosen your accounting year end to April, then it will be January, February, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March to March again. So it must be 12 months from the date of registration. From the date of the account, sorry, not the date of registration. Let me clarify. From the accounting year end, from the accounting year end that you choose, then you remember to always file after 12 months from your choice accounting period. Accounting year end.
Okay, thank you very much, Fanta. So in this case, if the self-help group, the year runs from January to December, and it was registered in April, meaning it will start, let's say if it was registered on 1st of April, it will start from 1st April 2025 to 31st December 2025. However, 2025 to June 2025. I don't know if I got lost. Yes, so the deadline will be on 30th June 2025. So you can file as early as 1st of January, but payment needs to have been paid by April.
I needed to say something.
Yes, please proceed.
Like if, for example, so that I don't lose the one who asked that question, if the person that applied for the PIN decided to choose deliberately the accounting year end to be April, then your return will run from 1st of April to 31st of March. So your year will always begin April 1st to 31st of March. While others are running from January to December, yours shall run from April to March, always. If then you choose the accounting year end to be May, then your years will run from May to April of the following year. That is 12 months.
So probably you can speak slightly about the deadline.
Sorry?
Probably you can speak shortly about the deadlines for filing the returns, because that is where basically they're very, very
the deadline
interested
for
on.
filing of return. Okay, after the end of the accounting year end, your accounting year end, then you are given 6 months to file your returns. So while the deadline for others will be December, then yours will not be December because your year runs up to March 31st. So you have 6 months from March or 6 months from the end of your accounting year end to file your return, after which you attract penalties.
Thank you, Fanta. That's very clear. Boniface is seeking clarification. If you generate invoices, items invoices as a CBO, are you expected to pay any taxes? And what is the process and what is the percentage?
That one is, you can ask when there are two. I answer both of them.
Yes. Now, Noble Self-Help Group asks, are self-help groups that are dealing with vatable goods, but their turnover is less than 5 million, are they also required to file VAT tax? And the third one, which is closely connected, is there a list of vatable goods and services and the expected tax rates?
Sorry?
Is there the third one is there
please?
a list? Is there a list of vatable goods? I think what they need to confirm is whether there is a list of vatable goods somewhere where they can go and check, and what is the expected tax rates.
Okay. If I may begin with the items question, I need to clarify that one, as I said earlier, the taxes you pay depends on the nature of the business that you do. If you are doing if you are just doing normal business that's not VAT or TOT or whatever, then let me concentrate on incorporation tax. If it's not VAT, therefore, and you're paying for incorporation tax, remember, you will do your items invoice. That means you are doing business. That means you are not non-profit making. If you are raising invoices, it means then you are in business. That means if for a resident company, incorporation tax is 30%. If you are a non-resident company, the corporate tax is 37.5%. And if then you are doing vatable business, then remember you will pay no more VAT. Depending on the nature of what you are doing, that is what will determine the amount of tax you pay. If it's incorporation tax, 30%. The other person that has asked about filing of return, if what you are doing is below the 5 million, remember, filing of return is not pegged to how much you collect. Filing of return is for everybody who has a PIN. If you have no business, if you have no transaction, you do a nil return. So filing is for everybody. But then if you did retail business, declare what business you did. That is what we call filing. Filing is actually a declaration to the commissioner on the transactions that you have had. If you have had none, you do a nil return. If you had business, declare what you did. If it was incorporation tax and you are a corporate, then and a resident company, you pay incorporation tax at 30%. If non-resident, remember, that is 7.5%. Is there a question I've not answered?
Yeah, whether there is a list of vatable goods and services.
Yes, you can find that on. I need to confirm. Maybe Brenda can confirm for me while I answer others. Is it first schedule where you can find a list of vatable goods
Okay, thank
and
you,
exempt
Brenda.
goods? It is in VAT Act. I need to confirm.
That's fine, Fanta. Brenda is confirming that. Meanwhile, we can just move with, to the next question. Okay, Brenda, feel free to speak.
Thank you very much, Fantas, for that. And Dolly, I just wanted to weigh in on the question on the list of registered or vatable goods. What our dear taxpayer, I may not have gotten the name, is asking. When it comes to VAT, yes, we have a law that guides matters to do with VAT. It's called the VAT Act. Now, under the VAT Act, there's what is called exempt goods. These are goods that are exempted from VAT. And they are normally found in what we call the first schedule of the VAT Act. Yeah. Now they are asking if they can. They're asking if they can find a list of goods that are vatable. That means that VAT is charged. We say that when you look at the VAT Act, all you need to consider is the first schedule and the second schedule. First schedule dealing with exempt goods and second schedule dealing with zero-rated goods. Now, if the goods neither fall in this schedule, then it means that these goods are what? Ought to be charged VAT. I'm trying to simplify it as much as possible. Unlike excise duty, for example, we were saying that for you to know which goods should have excise duty, then the goods are normally listed in what we call the Excise Duty Act. So in the Excise Duty Act, you actually have the specific list of both goods and services that should be charged excise duty. But for VAT, we say that you look at those that are exempt and those that are zero rated. Anything else, therefore, will be charged VAT. I hope that explanation is clear to our listener. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I think that was clear enough. The next question is, are the tax obligations for self-help group same as that for the community-based organization? And the second one is, what is the minimum amount of salary that is liable for taxation? These are coming from Billy.
The first question?
Are tax obligations for a self-help group the same as those for a community-based organization? That is the first one. Is okay. Let's proceed. The second one is, what is the minimum amount of salary that is to be taxed?
Okay. First of all, I wanted to repeat that except for partnership that has a unique registration that is known as income tax partnership, all these others take, first of all an individual PINs will take income tax company as the default obligation at first, except for all an individuals, except partnership that will take income tax partnership. Then other obligations will depend on the nature of what you are doing. I think I cannot repeat this more enough. For example, if you are dealing with vatable goods, then you register for VAT. Whether it is and if you are dealing with if you have employees, then you register for payee. If you don't have employees, whether you are CBO or a self-help group, then you don't register for payee. If you don't have anyone earning salary from you, so what obligation you register, except the default obligation, which is the income tax that you register when applying for the PIN, then other obligations will be determined by what you do. If you have rental property, then you register for monthly rental income, whether you are an NGO, a CBO, or a self-group. On minimum taxable salary in Kenya, is up to 24,000 per month. 24,000. If you earn 24,000 per month and below, then you don't pay any tax. If you earn 24,001 shilling up to 32,333, then you are taxed at 10%. From around 32,000 to 40,000, 15%. To be specific, to 40,667. From 40,000 to 49,000, 20%, like that in a graduated scale. But if I need to be specific on the question you asked, then 24,000 and below, you are below the taxable threshold, so you don't pay tax. But remember, you still need to pay housing levy and NITA. Thank you.
Asante sana, Fanta. Now, I would like to ask Charles, because he has a concern that he feels is double taxation on something that we have mentioned. So, Charles, please clarify what area felt like double taxation so that we can, clarify on that. All right. So, Ruth is asking, I think, Brenda, you can take this. If the year end is December, does it mean you file by 31st December, or it has a grace period of filing?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dolly, for that. Thank you, Fantas, for your input. The question is asking if the year is ending in December, and in this case, this should be December 31st. So they are asking, does that mean, please ask that part of the question again, Dolly. Does that mean?
If year end is December, does it mean you file by 31st December, or it has a grace period of filing?
That's a very, very good question. Yes. If the year end is 31st December, then it means that December has to end after 31st December, which will make it fast. Let's take an example of this year. Their year is ending on 31st December 2025. Then it means they have 6 months by which they can file. That is from 1st of January 2026 through to 30th of June 2026. However, it's important to note that should they have any payment that they need to make, then they need to do it much earlier, because the payment then needs to have been received on or before the 30th, end of April, that is 30th of April 2026, so that they make a distinction between filing of returns and making payment. Filing of returns, you have a 6 months window between January to June. But making payment, you have from January through to April, end of April. I hope that is clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for that clarification. The next question for Fanta, probably. What happens when you provide your group KRA PIN when purchasing items? Fanta, can you hear me? Or Brenda, either, who can tackle that question. What happens when you provide your group KRA PIN when purchasing items?
So I was saying, thank you, Dolly. I was saying that, I'm sorry I hadn't been muted. I was saying that, remember, it is so important that you do that if you plan to claim input or to claim purchases in your return. Because beginning as we file returns for this year, that is next year, we are validating invoices before you claim purchase. That is the invoice that you are using to say, like, if you did business worth like $1 million, but you had some purchases, then before we allow those purchases, we must validate them. Are they from e-teams? Are they mapped to you? If you are buying from someone, you give your PIN so that they input your PIN as the purchaser, so that the purchase can be mapped to you, so that you are able to claim it in your return as you file for your income tax return. If it is VAT, it is so important that you give your PIN, because unless you do so, then you will not claim input on that purchase if your PIN is not mapped, if the purchase is not mapped to you through capturing your PIN. So it is very, very important, especially if you need to claim input. Thank you. Dolly, back to you. Dolly, can you hear me? Dolly, Brenda.
Thank you very much, Fanta. That was very, very clear. So I do not see any further questions, not unless there is any follow-up question that we might have missed. Okay, there's one who was asking whether we have any recommendations where we can, where he can distribute books. So Brenda can respond to that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Thank you, whoever asked that question. I think you might need to clarify it a bit. Are you donating books when you talk about distribution? If at all you're talking about donating of books, we have a CSR section within KRA, and this year we have been receiving a lot of books because we have been donating to schools. We have been inaugurating in Kibra and other parts of the country, and we will appreciate to partner if at all you deal with the donation of books. But feel free to clarify on the questions. Feel free to clarify on what exactly you meant by distribution or donation of the books. Yeah. I think that will be it from me, Dolly.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't think we have missed any question, but in case we have, if there is any pending question, please feel free to retype or raise your hand, and we'll be able to give you an opportunity to speak. Okay, I suppose there is no further question. Fanta, I would like to sincerely thank you for taking time to answer and to respond our questions. Ruth, you've said more questions are on the Q&A section. Please feel free to repost the questions. Because I can only see one from Noble Self-Help Group. about the books, which Brenda has responded, and I can see you provided your contact. We would also like you to confirm whether you are donating or what exactly you mean. Okay, we will reach out via that email address. You can also type in your phone number. Ruth, please feel free to repost the question that we might have missed. Okay, so there's a concern. What informed turnover tax and VAT? Is that not double taxation? Fanta, the question is, what informed turnover tax and VAT? Is that not double taxation?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I need to first of all clarify that it cannot be double taxation because you cannot register or pay for both. You choose one. If you register for VAT, then you pay for VAT only. If you register for turnover tax, you pay for turnover tax. You don't pay for both. So it can never be, double taxation cannot come in anywhere in such a case. Double taxation would come in if you are paying both for VAT and for income tax. But in this case, it is either or. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you very much, Fanta. That is clear enough. Noble, I can see that you say there are several questions that have not been answered in the Q&A. One is about the books, which you've given your contact. I have requested if you can equally share your phone number and we will reach out to you. The other one is for Daudi, where Daudi's Generation Self-Help Group. Can we get these notes via emails to revisit them? The notes are actually on our website. I will share the link with you. It will take you directly to where the notes are. So you don't need to worry about that. Apart from that, we are equally on YouTube, on KRA TV, where you will get this full session. Anytime you want to refer to it, you can just go back and you will be able to get this full session posted there on KRA TV. Okay, so the other question is, what are the grounds for qualifying? What are the grounds for qualifying to apply for exemption? Ours is a welfare association registered as such. We do not partake in any income generating activities, and our constitution only allows for promoting the welfare of the members of our society. Is this sufficient to apply for exemption, and how should we go about it? Fanta, I'll repeat the question. What are the grounds for qualifying to apply for exemption? Ours is a welfare association registered as such. We do not partake in any income generating activities, and our constitution only allows for promoting the welfare of the members of our society. Is this sufficient to apply for exemption, and how should we go about it? So as you answer that, Fanta, I would like to respond to Boniface, who says, kindly share these recordings for further following. Boniface, the recordings are on KRA TV on YouTube. You'll be able to find it there. We are streaming it live, but it will be uploaded on the same. So anytime you want access to it, just go to KRA. You'll see other sessions also that will be very helpful, but you will equally find this one on the KRA TV YouTube. Fanta? Fanta, can you hear me? That is okay. Brenda, probably you can guide us through that question from Zakim.
Zakim, thank you very much for your question. I think what I need clarity on when you say promoting the welfare of your members, what does that mean? Remember, we said one of the criteria for you to be considered for an exemption is that you should not be engaging in profit-making activities. So that should be among the first considerations that you put before making an application for exemption. Do you engage in profit-making activity? When you say you take care of the welfare of your members, how do you do that? Do you engage in business, for example? So again, you need to consider that. And then remember, we said that it should be just for, I'm looking for this word. It is disappearing from my mind, but the kind of engagements that you engage in should not be for profit, number one, and then should be for alleviation of poverty, should be for charitable organizations, purely for charity, if you're having orphanages, for example. So then it should not be for profit-making activities. I hope I'm making sense to you. That is the feedback that I have for that question. Yes, unless, of course, we have other questions that we may not have responded to. I think we have tried as much as possible to respond to many of the questions that have come through. I think let me hand it over to Dolly just to see whether we have any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brenda. I think that was very clear. That was clear enough. And I can't see any further questions in the Q&A or in the chat box. However, if there's any question that we may have missed or any question that you will think about after you've left this session, you can send to us via email. That is taxeducation@kra.go.ke. taxeducation@kra.go.ke. We will be able to respond to all the questions that will probably come up after this. Brenda, there's something for you in the chat box asking, will non-profit pay tax?
I think that question is incomplete. When you say non-profit pay tax, this is Kajosi Matabishi. Put a bit of flesh into your question. Yeah. Non-profit is a very general term. What do you mean exactly when you say non-profit? Thank you.
Okay. Kajosi, I know your question has not been answered because it has not been very clear. But what you can do, you can drop us an email, as I have stated, or you can share your phone number right here in the chat box, and we'll be able to get back to you and get your question and be able to explain further in a way that you will go home satisfied that your question has been answered fully. But as for now, since there is no further question, I would like to. So Brenda is saying a CBO that does not generate income. However, Kajosi, please feel free to drop your number. We will pick it up from there. We will contact you and explain to you further.
I think we are in a position to respond to them. Dolly, thank you. Kajosi, what kind of engagements do you engage in? You have talked about that does not generate income. So yes, I think one of the criteria that you have met is that you're not engaging in profit-making
activities like businesses. And then now we look at what exactly is this that you do. Remember that there are criteria that are offered by KRA in terms of exemptions, so that if you meet the criteria, then you will be considered for exemption, because I see that that is where your question is gearing towards. So yes, not generating an income generating activities is one of the criteria which qualifies. Now we just need to get a few more details regarding your CBO so that you can be able to make an application for exemption. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brenda, for that. Teal, I think Kajosi has shared the number. I think we will reach out shortly after this, and we will be able to get exactly what the issue is and advise accordingly. So with that, I would like to sincerely thank each one of you for taking time to attend this sensitization and also to participate. We do not take that for granted, because our main role as civic education and tax outreach is to make sure that every person, whether with a PIN or not, understands their obligation, understand their incentives when they get a PIN, understand what exactly is expected of them and what they expect from KRA. So thank you very much for showing interest, for registering, and for joining. We do not take that for granted. And as we close also, I would like to thank our colleague Fanta for equally taking time out of his busy schedule and was able to come and respond to our questions. And for Brenda, asante sana for being here, equally taking us through the whole activity and also responding to our questions where need be. And asante sana, we look forward to having more of this engagement. Please, once we reach out to you, please, we request you that you join so that we may be able to move together. We may get empowered and understand that we do not, we do not stay in darkness. Asanteni sana, Brenda, not unless there's something you need to say, please feel free. Also, just a special thank you to our sign language interpreter, Liz. Asante sana for being here with us ever since we started. We are very, very grateful to have you around. Asanteni sana. Brenda, feel free to close the meeting.
Thank you very much, Dolly, for that wonderful moderation. We sincerely appreciate you. I think just to add on what Kajosi had asked, remember what Ephantes has really emphasized from the beginning. It depends on what it is that you do. For example, Kajosi, if your CBO has employees, and you pay them beyond the threshold of taxation for pay that is 24,000 and above, then indeed you do qualify for the payment of these taxes. So then again, we will engage in a conversation further after this. But just to thank you and to also really underscore what Fantas did mention about validation of invoices. I think this is something that all of you ought to be very much aware, especially if you're engaging in business. I have tried to share my screen and I don't know whether it is visible, but I'd want you to consider. We will share the link to this particular information. But remember, KRA put out a public notice to anyone engaged in business. I've seen questions to do with e-teams. I have seen questions to do with VAT. If you have been issuing out e-teams receipts, or you have been recipients of these e-teams receipts, then remember when you're filing your returns this next year, it will be different unlike any other year. Because now, this coming year, and we will have more sensitizations on it, it means that everything you will be declaring on that return, KRA has a way of verifying it digitally. So that means anything that is not supported by the right documents, like that e-teams receipt, will not be accepted. It is something that you ought to have at the back of your mind, even as you head towards the end of the year, especially if your accounting end year is December and you're considering how to file your returns from next year. Please don't wait to June. Start filing your returns early so that if at all you have questions, you have time to engage with us so that we can give clarity so that you're not caught up by the deadlines. I think that is something, Dolly, I felt is important to just emphasize and to repeat. This information is available in our KRA website, but I'm posting the link for you on the chat platform. I think that's it from me. Over to you so that we end the meeting.
Thank you very much, Brenda. We didn't hear your voice, Elizabeth. Probably you can just unmute and greet the participants before I officially close. Still muted? We can now hear you. That's okay. That's okay, Elizabeth. I think we have a challenge with the microphone. Probably you can just say your last words using the sign language. That's fine. I think that meant I love you all. Thank you. Asanteni sana. Now, please feel free to leave the sensitization. We're looking forward to having you again and again. Karibu.